Hi, welcome back to Messenger Motorworks. Now, it's been a little while since I made a video. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Had to kind of decide what I was going to do and where I was going to go with the channel, quite frankly. I also needed to clean the garage a little bit, and I've sort of done so. There's a little mess over there. There's a little mess over there yet, but it is much more usable now than it was. The construction is starting to wrap up, so I'll have my storage back. Anyway, thanks for tuning back in. Quick thing. The plan for the Milano has changed. I need a track car. Daddy needs a track car. The Giulia is an excellent track vehicle. Unfortunately, it's a little bit unsustainable as far as tracking it regularly because tires are very expensive, and the brakes on this car, unfortunately, are the carbon ceramics. I say unfortunately because while they do stop the car very well over and over and over and over again without getting too hot or boiling brake fluid, the brake job is $4,500 for the parts. Just the parts. As some of you may know, some of you may not, carbon ceramics, they wear the rotor at the same rate they wear the pad. So you have to replace kind of everything every single time. And once they start to get to a certain weight, because you actually measure a carbon ceramic rotor by weight, not just the thickness of it, there's a minimum weight that it has to be. Once you reach that weight, it becomes a really dangerous situation. So, that's prohibitive along with the tires. There's another thing that's prohibitive, my lack of talent. I have tracked this car once, and I might be tracking it again next week, 2 weeks from now, because I just can't help myself, and the Milano isn't ready, but we're looking at renting out the whole of RPM, Raceway Park of the Midlands, and I'm going to give the Giulia another chance in the track. The trouble is, what's prohibitive is my talent. The car is a rocket, an absolute rocket. It turns unbelievably well. It stops unbelievably well, but the scary bit of the car is the sheer volume of torque and power that it is capable of producing. It's frightening, actually. My track car previous to this was a 2001 Porsche 911, and that car was a lot easier to manage. Now, it did have some of the 911's quirkiness as far as going around a corner, but the trouble is it didn't have so much power that it could kill you necessarily. A 2011 911 you can put, or 2001 911 you can put 305s in the back, some really good sticky tires if you got wide enough wheels, and it's very difficult to unsettle the back of that car unless you're really being reckless. So the move from that car to this car, I was like, oh, great, all of this fancy suspension equipment, braking equipment, this unbelievable Ferrari-derived V6 underneath the hood. I adore this car and love this car, but as a track vehicle, it is not sustainable. I just don't make that much money. So I do have this old beater, Alfa Romeo Milano Platinum. And I think it'll suit as a good interim track car until I can have my 4C, which I really want. I really desperately want a 4C. There are some salvage titled repaired cars that are approaching the mid-30s. I'm thinking that maybe once those get into the mid to high 20s in the next year, especially with the economy crashing right now, I might be able to convince my wife that we need one. It's a long shot. But in the interim, and for this YouTube channel, I think it would be fun to turn this Milano into a decent little reliable track car. Nothing too crazy. We're still going to fix the bodywork. I got the steel panels for that in a box just there. I got loads of parts for it that I'm going to show you. So this is the beginning of a 3 or 4 part series, not sure how long it'll be yet, about seeing whether this thing will start. This is the Will It Start series special edition. We're gonna put the radiator in, put some brackets on, check the fuel pump. We're going to put oil in it because I'm not sure there is oil. It's not dripping oil on the top of my Giulia, so that probably means it's empty. We're gonna check the timing, we're gonna put a battery in it, and we're gonna try to start it. And you guys will be a ride. You guys will be along for the ride while we try to work this thing out. If it does start, that's going to be really good news, especially if it's not knocking or anything like that, because then I don't have to really worry about the engine. I'm not going to touch the engine. I will take apart as little as possible to kind of leave, you know, the nature and the spirit of this of that power plant alone, and just kind of let it be what it's going to be. If it runs, that's great, because then I can focus on the important stuff like brakes, tires, and suspension, and safety, because I probably will do maybe some sort of small basic cage in the back. We're going to do some stripping out. I like interiors, so I'm not just going to go stripping it bare because I don't have a trailer yet, and driving a stripped out car across the state just doesn't appeal to me just to get to a track day. So it's got to have a stereo in it still. It's got to have some insulation in it still, just a little bit, at least at the front of the car. You know, but I think I'm going to stick with these Panasport wheels maybe, because these are nice, hollowed out, lightweight, very strong wheels, and they're already beat to crap. So why not just keep beating them to crap? Yeah, so I'm going to get this Giulia started and pulled out. We'll get this lower to the ground and start going through parts. Okay? Get this cold start with the garage door closed. That should sound nice. We'll see. Maybe it might not come out so nice on camera, but I need to go buy a battery, but evidently Alfa Romeo had several battery configurations and where the terminals were on these cars. Some of the batteries had the terminals coming from the sides and reached terminals that were directly centered on the battery. Some of them, you know, were seemingly like this one, where they can reach right there and right there, so they're at the back of the battery in reference to how it's placed in the car. And some of them have the terminals flipped around. Don't know why that would have ever been like that, but I clearly need one that has a back set of terminals with the positive on the right. That should be pretty simple. I'll probably take a photo of that before I go. So we'll pick this up in just a little bit. I'm going to go get a battery. We're going to open some parts and just kind of see how things start to fall. Okay, we're going to get some stuff unpacked. Coolant hoses, because they were missing. The belts, because they were missing. One unwrapped, well, new corner lights. This is a broken one over on that side. Not super important, but there they are, two of them. Rear seat CV shaft bolts. This is a mount, an eBay item for the radiator. The top, just this one simple thing just bolts on and grooves into the radiator to hold it up. That was missing. T-pipe, coolant hoses, that was missing. Here's another little coolant hose that comes off that T-pipe down at the bottom of the radiator. Missing. So that's all good important things. I bought a battery, the right one. Rear drop springs. A little stiffer than factory. Pulls the back end down. I think a full 2 inches because it's so tall. Like a spring for the rear trunk. I got new squirters here to make that a complete thing. I got one for each side he sent me, probably because he forgot which one I had asked for. But these slide in that way into the bumper, connect to the hosing in the back, and function as the squirters. I can't stand it when something's missing. Even if they don't end up working, I just need that hole filled. All important, very important, alternator bracket. This was a bear to find, and he pulled one off of an engine for me. Some weather stripping is mine. I got a lot of bad stuff. And then, this is frivolous, I admit, but it's very, very difficult to find the center consoles with this door on it and have it all still be intact. So I'm going to take great care of this. And now, at least I have one, because I may consider doing like 3D printed iterations. You can see probably the plastic deteriorates and just comes apart, so it's probably not too hard for a child or somebody a bit rough or maybe a little heavy to lean on this and just bust it right off. Got that. That pleases me. Oh, that was nice of him. He threw in a little Alfa Romeo. So this is from, I bought this in the springs from a guy named Mike Matone. He probably wouldn't mind me saying his name. Really cool guy. Has an unbelievable Milano Verde. I'll link to his YouTube video, maybe at the end of this video. It's somebody did an owner interview. Great guy, very nice. He was wonderful to do business with. He sent me more than oh my gosh, look at that. Mike, I had bought one, but you had kindly sent me one. I had no idea you had sent me one. And coolant hoses. You are just a solid dude, Mike. Thank you. Oh, another sticker. That's brilliant. And he did sketch up the alternator bracket for me. I forgot about that. Very cool. Very kind. The Alfa community. My short time in the Alfa community has been a good one. Just a lot of solid people. But here's the big part that's missing from this car. And that is an alternator with a fan on it. Just was completely missing. And this will be one of the first things to get installed after belts get attached. Very, very happy with that. It looks to be in quite good condition considering its age. And that pleases me. Okay. I'm going to have to write Mike a note. Oh, more stickers. He just hooked me up with stickers. Oh, I'm putting those everywhere. I love stickers. Okay. And then yet another sticker. Please, so you can get a closer look. Maybe he might have had these like custom made. It's kind of nice, right? I don't know how well you can see that on the. That's quite a nice sticker. I like that. Fantastic. I'm gonna have to write Mike a note. Okay. So this is another box from Centerline. It should have a few things in it, like an oil filter, super positive. Seems silly, but windshield wipers. And primary reason for this order, sheet metal for the rear fender. I got each side. Yep, this looks to be the driver's side. And it tucks up under here. So on my car, this whole area, as you may have seen in my previous video, is rotted. I suspect what's under there is also pretty rotted. So I am going to cut the bad bits out of mine and cut the good bits out of this, you know, in the same shape, and then TIG weld them in, hopefully, probably. I might get some help doing that, because frankly, I want it to look nice, but I will give it a shot. I will give it a shot. So this is nice. I have the both the driver and passenger side fenders in here. Badges. Badges that are in good shape please me. The badges on this car are quite worn. Badges. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this. Does this car have oil in it? Really not sure about that. We're on a path of discovery together, folks. So we're gonna pull this. Haven't ever pulled it before. Now the car's been sitting here, but funny enough, I don't know if you can see that, it is right up to the max line. Now of course the car hasn't been ran in quite some time, but you know, that's, at least it has oil in it. And the big thing to point out, not only does it have oil in it, but it doesn't leak the oil on the ground. Remember, I joked about the car not having oil in it because it wasn't leaking any. And there it is. The car has loads of oil in it. That is quite difficult to see. I need to get a shop light over here. Loads of oil in it. And it isn't leaking it. That is a really positive sign. Now, you know, it's old oil, dirty oil. You know, there's probably a lot of condensation in there. But man, is it tempting to just put a battery in it and see if it spins over. But we're not going to do that. Okay. Now let's get a socket on the front of the engine and see about turning it. 41 millimeter socket, folks. In case you're wondering, that's big. All right. Now I could take out the plugs and, you know, go through all that and put some oil down in it, but it's not like this engine hasn't ran for 30 years or something. Oh yeah. She's turning quite easily. But it rotates nicely. I didn't feel any binding with valves, so they may very well have this car timed properly. I'm gonna throw, God, I can turn it by hand until I reach compression. Okay, I think that wraps it up for part one. We know the engine has oil. We know the engine rotates nicely. We have looked at the parts. We've discussed what we're going to do with this car. Next episode, we're going to put these belts on, this radiator in, do a couple of other things. We might look more into judging whether or not this car is timed properly and go from there. Thanks for watching.